Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi, Jack Roser, and myself today are talking to Kevin O'Connell. We were talking about the Northwest Political Coalition and how they are going to start getting engaged for this next election cycle to get some better government. Jack, Kevin is working with grassroots and independents, which is a good thing. You're more conservative, or you're more conservative, or
and in the Palatine area.
Yes,
the Palatine. You know,
that
within the northwest suburbs.
That should be a good stronghold for the Republican Party,
or
conservatives, if you put it that way.
But you are seeing a lot of demographic changes, and you are seeing people who want to know. You know, in the past, you lived in the city, you voted Democrat. You came out to the suburbs, you voted Republican. Now that's all changing. You have seen the demographics change where I've, and again, being clerk, you can pick out certain areas within Palatine Township that are just going to be blatantly Democratic. It's because they're not seeing a difference here. They're not seeing any kind of changes. And when they come out and they're paying the same amount of taxes, they go, well, what's the difference? You have a Republican that says, I'm not going to tax you. And then they turn around and then they increase the tax levy. And then they explain how it's not really a tax increase, which it is because they're getting more money. So when you have confusing things like that going on, you're not building a brand. And the Republicans lost their brand.
Right.
With this, what we're trying to do is, and working with various people, I have worked with Republicans, independents, some Democrats, and trying to create some good government. You have some honest to goodness people out. I've had Democrats who just want to switch to being an independent because they weren't happy with what Quinn did. And you have to remember my history. I had 10 years ago, I was staying with Pat Quinn railing against John Stroger at the Cook County Board, where he's giving them, tea bags, saying, you can't increase people's taxes like this. You can't do this. This is Pat Quinn. I go, Pat Quinn now is not the guy I knew 10 years ago.
He was always mush.
And so...
He was wherever there was somebody bleeding, being nice,
Well, in this case here, I'm just saying, it was a time when, the taxes were being increased. When Todd Stroger did it, and Palatine, the village officials had talked about, seceding. Could that really happen? The question was to bring to the people's attention that the sales tax that was passed was unfair. It put more pressure on Cook County businesses because right across the street, in some levels, you got Lake County.
Right.
Yeah.
Lake County puts up signs: no Cook County taxes
here. No Cook
here.
County taxes.
Right. Come on and get your gas. Come on and get your clothes.
Right.
And when you see these differences, when I used to go shop, and I said I spent $1,000 in Lake County. And you look at that, and your 10% tax would have been $100. Well, someone's like, all you did was save really with this $10 here, $10 there. And I go, that's not the point. Yes, I did save that money, but now all the businesses in Cook County never got that $1,000 to begin with.
And you know what? I'm same thing. I live there. I would go to Lake County all the time, and you can drop $300-400 a pop at a Costco, and Cook County was losing that revenue. It just makes sense. You have.
Well, how about this business tax that they put on? They kited the tax up 67%.
Sure.
And that there is a walloping kick in the butt to anybody in business. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started 4 companies from scratch, so I know a lot about starting them. And I'll tell you, today the regulations are almost the sure death of little company startups. Way too much regulation. But people are fussing about that 67% increase in taxes, and that's causing a lot of businesses to leave the state. But I'll tell you, that tax raise isn't as bad as the stinking regulations that these arrogant politicians are stuffing on anybody that wants to do anything, build a house, start a farm, start a company, do anything, and here they come with their regulations to stop you. You don't get to pay that 67% increase in taxes till after you started a business. So you got a big hurdle to go over in the regulations before you even get to pay a tax. But think of the established businesses here that are big enough to get by the damned regulations, as bad as they are and as annoying as they are. A lot of these companies are moving over the border. I talked to a rich man that was supporting Republicans for office. He's doing a lot of business in India. He's moved off to Florida. Why should he pay the taxes here? Down the street from me in Carpentersville, I'll leave his name out, but there's a man with a good business in there, moderate-sized business, and he's moved it off to Wisconsin. It's going on. And these politicians, particularly the Democrats that have given us this financial debacle, they're driving business away.
Well, and a lot of what you're going to probably start seeing is headquarters move. If, they might conduct some business in Illinois, but the thing is now they're going to move to places like Indiana or Florida and so forth, because you could set up a headquarters anywhere. It's where you're going to really pay the most taxes and where they're going to avoid. All you have to do is set up an office on the phone and you can call it a headquarters.
It's going to be impeding job growth and economic growth here in Illinois, and we definitely need to get some better policies, better people in government, and that's exactly what your organization, the Northwest Political Organization, is planning to do.
The Democrats don't want nobody's cent.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm encouraging people who have backgrounds that understand business, that understand government, to run.
Well, let's talk about citizens governing citizens after the break.